great.
Sure. As long as you take assassins off your background.
What was that?
You never get people saying like that might be like they're a little too sensitive.
Only once, but I kind of, but that was like a good thing because people saw that and said like, "What, is he really an assassin?" So that
Well, if
was
they're thinking that, you probably don't want to talk to them. If they're wondering if you're a real assassin and you're announcing it, their common sense radar is a little bit low.
Exactly.
True story.
This is it. Hello?
We're going to get started here in a little bit, everybody. This is an interactive not a webinar, but a roundtable, mastermind, masterclass, whatever you want to call it. So definitely have your camera on, have your audio on when you're talking, and put your information in chat so that we can basically share content and information about who you are and what you do. And then if anybody wants to put the recorder in here, you're welcome to. We're going to be talking about LinkedIn shortcuts today. Everybody's going to give two strategies that really worked well for them. Maybe something they've learned over the last 6 months that worked really well, or something that really failed a lot, so that you can say, hey, I learned from this, don't do it again. Or maybe some tech stack that you've used that you're like, man, this was a great tool that I've added, and it really helped me with my job, and I think it can help other people. So that's the whole idea: is educate, network, refer is really what this roundtable is about. I'll throw my information in chat. If you guys can do the same thing, not just your name and number, put what you do and a little more information than just the basic information. Here's mine. It's kind of like my signature file for my email. But we're gonna get started in a couple minutes. Please have your camera on so we can see you, and I can call on you to introduce yourself. That'd be great. Just letting some more folks in.
Good morning.
Hello. If you look at Rajiv's or mine signature on my video, it says my name / full throttle. I would definitely put your name -- something so people know who you are and what you do. Not just waiting until you get called on. So it's a great way for a little branding. If you want a note taker in here, feel free to add it so you can record it. And the more people we get to come to this, the better, because we get more people to share content and ideas and ideation. That's really what this one is about every month. I have another roundtable coming up that I co-sponsor with someone else once in a while. Someone has a pretty good amount of contacts in LinkedIn, and they do something different than what I do. I like to kind of go, hey, let's do some sort of one-off. Because I like to do these more than once a month, but I don't want to be stuck with doing them once a week, which is what I was doing before. It's a little too much. So happy to team up with one of you that want to do that and want to go after a real specific approach. But you got to have some contact. You got to at least have 4,000 to 5,000 on your contact list for me to kind of take the time to do that. We're gonna get started in about a minute. Just letting people in still. I can't tell how many people I have right now because half of them are note takers, but I think I have 20 or something people, it looks like, joining. I'm going to bring up some tips on LinkedIn to kind of educate you guys on, because I do this every day with LinkedIn. And this is not to use me for LinkedIn automation. This is just ideas around your LinkedIn to help you become a better LinkedIn profile, and how to do some shortcuts on LinkedIn that you'd be like, wow, that is really cool. I wish I would have known that, because I could basically make connections real easy doing it that way. Victor, my director of client services, should be on here, I think. Victor, you there?
I'm 100% here.
All right. Victor is my director of client success. And so he's my right-hand guy. So he'll be letting people in the room choose once I find him on here so I can let him be a co-host. I'm trying to find his name on here. Where is he? Type in your name, I guess. There you go. Co-host. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started here. If you can put your camera on, maybe your mic on mute until you're going to chat. We're going to go through who you are, why you came to the roundtable today, what's a couple of things you've learned or that you've lost. So obviously in sales or martial arts or whatever, when you lose or you figure out you've done something wrong, you figure out how to do it right. So it's a good thing for our audience here today is try to learn from people's mistakes so you don't have to always go through them, or you came into some really great idea, you want to share that, and maybe why you joined the roundtable, and then maybe something that you're working on that you could bounce off the roundtable mastermind here about, hey, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to start this company, I'm trying to do a product, and I want to bounce this either off the group or I want to bounce this off of a one-to-one to do later. So all right, we're going to get started here real quickly. I'm Michael Falato. I'm the CEO and founder of Full Throttle Falato Leads. Basically, you're going to do a little intro like this, not a sales pitch, but an intro. I do LinkedIn automation. I send out 20 to 30,000 emails a month, 5,000 emails or invites on LinkedIn a month. And I do these roundtables for my clients. Produces 10 to 20 sales qualified leads on average, depending on who you are, what you do, and what you sell. I live in Winter Garden in St. Pete's in Florida, a U.S. Air Force veteran and a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I really love doing these events just to help other people out and do referrals and references and tips and tactics. So that's what I want you to do when we call on you. I'm going to start off with a little education as well. And this is education to help you, not help me sell automation. This is just things you can do on your LinkedIn, or you should be doing, to make yourself a better use of LinkedIn. You should have Sales Navigator. Can you already see my screen? Just shake your head. Yep. Okay. So Sales Navigator is important. I'll show you why. But on your LinkedIn, most people don't have a professional headshot, and they don't have a background here. I don't know how many people on LinkedIn don't have a background of their logo. I found a really cool mock-up of my business cards that I put behind me. So that makes good. Then I see this. I am the CEO of this company or that company. No one knows what that company is. What is it? So I'm 25 years, lead gen automation, Air Force. Tell a story. This is your place to tell a little story about yourself. So that's important. Make sure people can see how many followers you have. Because you can tell I have 30,000 followers. It's about 30,000. You can only have 30,000 connections. So I'm pretty much at the max.
Okay.
But it's important.
Michael, what happens when you get over 30,000? How do they stop you? Do you stop growing, or what happens?
They said that you run out of invites. So in an automation platform I use, you can actually remove first connections, which I have connections from CHROs, which are great titles, but I don't really go after them in my life anymore. So I take those out. I've kind of got rid of about 2,000 connections in the last 30 days because I need room. I'm really picky now of who I take on as connections. Be wary of really attractive people on LinkedIn that have 200 connections.
Yeah.
And one job.
No, I understand. I'm really selective. I have been for a long time. But so is there a tool to remove first level connections?
Yeah, I use Linked Helper. It's my automation tool. Okay. I use it for my clients, and I do a done for you approach. But if you want to try to figure out, have at her.
No, it's I don't have time, but it's I just want to know that there is a tool for that.
Oh yeah, they just added that feature to take out first connections recently, so that's nice.
But you told me that you can't do it from within LinkedIn. You need Link Helper.
Yeah, Linked Helper is an automation tool. LinkedIn does not like automation tools.
I know.
It's against their terms of service. But again, there's about 2,500 LinkedIn automation tools out there. So they know it's going on. They have AI to try to stop you.
Okay.
I have a tool that mimics human behavior.
Okay. Thank you.
So Phil, and this is an interactive thing. So Paul, thank you. Anyone else that wants to ask a question? I don't want to talk, and I'm going to want you guys to introduce yourself, but I want to give you some tips today, because if I would have known these 5 years ago, I would have, and even without automation, this would have been awesome. I'd put your college in there too. You could add this book appointments. That's important. You could add a button in here and it goes, I have it go in my calendar.
Where was that button?
You could add it here. You could basically add a profile section right here, add a profile section, and then you can put a button here for book an appointment, or there's another button that says request your services. I don't like that one as much. I think people try to sell you that way. I'd rather someone book you. Remember when you book, I guess this will be another idea here. When you ask someone to book an appointment with you, put 5-minute increments in case they have a call ending at 9. They could pick 9:05 or 9:10. Because otherwise you're going to have very limited slots on your calendar, and they're going to have very limited spots. Make it easy for someone to kind of not be in a rush and stress out going into your meeting. The other thing is add these things. You have to put your email, your title, your company. My time is money. I'm not just going to talk to them because they booked me, So I want to know what's going to help me prepare for the meeting. That's what's your pains, right? Who referred you? Those are important things. Ask a BANT question. BANT is budget, authority, needs, and timing. Who cares? So what? Why are they bugging you? You got to make sure that in your time is not someone just bugging because they especially if you're a woman, they just want to hit on you. It's like, no, that's why it's like important being so good looking like myself. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, but you just don't want. Larry loves that. You just don't want to basically have that as part of it.
Michael, quick question. That registration form, was that a Calendly function or is that a LinkedIn function?
This is a Calendly. You got to pay for Calendly, and basically you can add fields into it.
Okay.
You can actually have it go into a Google Forms, which is what I have done as well. But
can you show me your Google form?
Sure. It's kind of personal, pal.
Your picture's not that good.
No. Let's see here. Yeah, I added this because I was doing this on HubSpot, and the link in HubSpot was not showing up to forward to their registration form, which is, I love HubSpot, but it was having issues in LinkedIn. So I'm like, I'm just going to make this into a Google form, and Google works really well in LinkedIn. And again, I asked the questions, what has you interested in joining? Who referred you? And the whole idea is like, do you want to book a meeting with you? Like everybody that joined this roundtable today kind of got a little sales pitch of like, hey, do you want to meet with me? I'm doing this because it helps my business, not just because I want to help you, but it helps. It's a win-win for all of us. So if you start doing something like this, either with or without me, a mastermind on your business, I can help you, or you can do it yourself. It's education sales. Learn what the pain is before you start pitching somebody, right? So, and then I put examples of a roundtable in here, and then I put like a little video that I made of my logo. So that's kind of what I've done there, is just to kind of make that about that. If you look at the messaging that I use to get people to come to this roundtable for clients, I'm hosting a roundtable. We're going to cover things like this, and that. I want you to be one of my featured guests, which means I want you to do what you're doing today, which is ask questions and say who you are and why you want to be on this roundtable, and maybe, hey, can you refer business to you? So that whole approach gets me 30, 40 meetings a month. It all depends on what you do for a living. Everybody needs lead gen pretty much. So I have a little bit of a different story than some companies where you're selling procurement software and you're a procurement person, you're hard to find, you might not even want to be on a roundtable. So you got to look at the personalities. CIOs are not a big roundtable audience. You might want to, CIOs want to educate, right? I'm going to bring on the CIO of MasterCard to talk to you about his practices in A, B, and C.
Let me just see if I can find it here. So the slide presentation is the one that I did use at the convention.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks, Christian. She asked me a question. So back to LinkedIn. Any other questions before I kind of dive into a couple? No. I also throw documents up on
Michael,
LinkedIn. Yeah.
When you get at some point in this presentation, curious if you're going to talk about promoting company pages. I understand the algorithms aren't kind to posts made from company pages and trying to figure out the best way to optimize traction as I'm starting to build that brand.
Yeah, I'm really building my brand, my personal brand, which ties into my company, especially like someone like yourself who's building their own company underneath their name. So I would worry about your personal brand. I'm not an expert in company LinkedIn page profiles, and there's a lot of limitations on that. Go ahead.
Michael, yeah, just to add to that. So Alex, basically the company page is just similar to your LinkedIn page, basically and it ties into how many followers you have. So if your personal account on LinkedIn has, let's say, 2,000 followers, your message will potentially reach 2,000 people or has the potential of reaching 2,000 people. Similar to the company page, if your company page only has 20 people following it, it's only going to reach 20 people or less than 20 people. So that's why the algorithm is kind of focused on engagement. And obviously it wants to engage with content that is likely to be engaged by more people, which will keep them on the platform. So that's why it's optimized more to do with personal profiles than your company page. So it looks like Michael is great at the personal profile thing. So you definitely talk to him about that. Michael had a quick question. Did LinkedIn turn off that feature of that animated GIF or whatever in the profile picture? Because it used to be there a while ago, but I don't know if it still is there.
The animation, like when you're waiting to get into the Zoom room?
No. Like in your LinkedIn profile, your profile picture.
Oh,
there was
yeah. I never got
video.
into.
I don't know if they turned it off.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, they might have turned it off.
Yeah, I thought it was to me, it was a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
It's a little bit too
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
It's like, think of this. The biggest thing here with LinkedIn is dating. You're dating. You're single. All right. And that's really what it comes down to is like, you got a business date. You got to don't if you're going to talk to Annabelle, don't tell your whole life story. Get to know her first, slow your roll, she would say, so that's, understand if I sat there and wrote you a story, hey, I do lead gen and I just talk, I don't even know who you are. You don't know who I am. But if I say, hey, I'm doing a roundtable, I want you to be a featured guest. Guess what you think? Me? You want me to be on your roundtable? That's what I thought 3 years ago when someone says, I want you on my round. I'm like, what's this roundtable? You want me to be on a podcast? What? Me? But you know what? They do the podcast for a reason. They do a podcast, they want to interview you and sell to you. They have 5 people watching their podcast. Some people. I use like Daily Ad Brief and a bunch of other ones, Rainmakers. They have really nice magazines, like podcast magazine, which looks like a studio. I do those. They ask for free, and I do them for free. So, Annabelle.
I was to add to that, like company page question. If you do a search of the most followed companies and then a search of the most followed people, the people always win. So people follow people over companies. So like, just to reiterate, the focus on your personal brand, and then you can repost stuff from your personal brand to your company page.
Yeah, I highly ever use Falato as a place to post from, but I hyper tag or tag that or at on LinkedIn for that. Another thing is, if you're part of a member of a different group of networking, like Orlando Economic Partnership, Revenue Marketing Alliance, Association for Corporate Growth, put that as a job, but put that as a member so people can find you. That's gotten me a lot of leads too, to not just list my real jobs, but also my experiences in groups as a job. And then you can see here in my section for my company, I'm kind of reiterating my whole roundtable approach versus just saying, I'm a founder, CEO, we do lead generation. Tell a story, make yourself interesting. The other thing is, if you're doing jiu-jitsu or you're doing Krav Maga or you're doing something else, that's accreditation. Make sure you put stuff about your personal life in there. Another thing would be, as you can see here, I had a lot of jobs over the years. I don't have to work for anybody ever again, so that's nice. Another thing would be is recommendations. As you can see here, I have 139 recommendations. It's important to have everything that you want listed on here that you would want someone to talk about. So hit people up when they're feeling good about you and when you're feeling good about them, and ask them to be basically a sponsor, or not a sponsor, but a recommendation.
Michael, is
So
there
those
a way to adjust the order of the way those recommendations show up?
Mm.
Yes,
I don't know.
yes,
Let's see.
there is.
There is? Okay.
Yes.
You can, if you
Just
click
to-
edit, you can drag and drop them. You can also put them in your, like your featured
Yeah,
stuff as well.
I've done that. Is in my featured here. They're up here. I guess you see them when I'm doing the a public view of my LinkedIn. You'll see that I have it listed. I'm wondering why does it say okay? I don't see a way of dragging. You can turn them on and off. I don't see a way of dragging them around. I don't know who said that.
I'm
but
driving, so I'll have to play with it when I get back in the office, but I am sure that maybe it's just in the featured section that I'm, but
yeah, in the feature section,
I'll play with that.
in the feature section, that's something that's good. I think I can show that here. There's a way to look at this as a. I'm trying to remember how to look at it if I'm not logged in as myself, but it comes in here like a featured section, and then I put some of those. I actually took every single recommendation I have and put it in a Word doc, and I sent it as a PDF because there should be a hyperlink to this, right? Say, here's my recommendations. There isn't. So it's really hard. But when someone says, hey, can you send me some references? I go, there's 140 on LinkedIn. If you don't think I'm the right person, it's probably not a good fit. I want you to check me out, but I'm not gonna bug Larry every time someone wants to ask them about me.
I'll say good stuff, Mike. I promise.
That's not what I heard. He said I was a big meanie. So I'm trying to think of.
Quick question, Mike. This is very real quick. Hey, I hopped on a little late. It's something I noticed you don't have. You don't have the project section showing, which is something I use heavily in my profile. Because it
Project?
does, yes, there's actually
Yeah.
project settings because it links you with other people that you've worked with. It's actually pretty cool for networking. And it
Yeah,
also shows you skills quite well.
It's also great if you've been an employee for companies, but then you're also a consultant. You can drop your consulting gigs into that project section.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't messed with that too much.
Yes.
So I'm gonna get into a couple awesome tools that you can use without having to use me.
Michael, can you touch on one thing since you're really talking about maximizing LinkedIn? What's the strategy and value between having access to your connections on versus off? What's your feeling about
That's
that?
a great question. I want people to know who I'm connected to and how I'm connected to them and why I'm connected to them somewhat. So I think the greater catch-22 is I want them to see it. The negative side of it is you're a competitor of mine. You can basically take that and use that against me. But if I feel like you can do that and I can lose clients, then they're not really good clients, or then I'm not really good at helping that client. So there's a plus and minus to that. It's just like the whole list of have your clients public or not.
Yeah.
I choose to keep my contacts, my 30,000 contacts public on my LinkedIn, but there's people that lock it down. I don't like when they do that, but that's their choice.
Right. My
Lock
feeling
it
is
down.
if you lock it down, you're almost diminishing some of the value of what LinkedIn was designed to do.
Exactly. You can also change your URL here to instead of like 847,444, put your name at the end of it, so you have a nicer URL.
I locked down my contacts in terms of who can see them because I was in an industry that literally taught that way 10 years ago to do that. So, but I want people to see when I look at their profile.
Yeah, Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but you're definitely that's really a personal preference. There's all these things you can do here. We can link, you can show your network, make everything public. I'm so public, I have nothing to hide, I guess I would say. But you got to feel out what's best for you, and especially if if you're a solopreneur and you're a woman and you're single and you're home and you don't want someone to know where you live. It's like protect yourself, everybody, male or female. But I would be definitely more sensitive to making sure people can't find me. So be careful about putting your personal information of where you live. That's what I would do. I'm not worried about. I'm a black belt. Come see me in my house, please.
So I have a quick question. So you mentioned dating a couple of times, and I think that you should have like a dating roundtable as well. I think it would be very, very well attended.
No, because you would hit on all the girls, pal. I don't trust you.
Don't give me any ideas, Rajiv.
Yeah, because Victor knows I probably do that. I appreciate a good-looking person. I'll leave it at that. So on Sales Navigator, wait, okay, no, I was going to show you two other things. So groups, you can join 100 groups on LinkedIn. Do it. You know why? Because on groups, you can see I'm all connected. There's 540,000 people in the sales management one. I could go in here and send a message to these people for free. One of the biggest, hugest things you can learn right now. Join a group. You can search the members in regular LinkedIn, not very well, but you can send them a free email if you're part of a group. If you're in Sales Navigator, you could say, I want to do this in Sales Navigator. This is why you have to have Sales Navigator if you're actually in business to try to get leads for yourself. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go, I want the group of, I think it was called Sales something something. And now it's going to show me, oh, it's going to be 500,000, right? I don't want to talk to 500,000 people in that group. I want to go after people in computer software, right? So let's just see, I'll do like desktop software. And I want North America. And I don't want people that are my first connections because they already know me. But you should definitely hit your first connection. Most people I know are not even taking advantage of their first connections so that they can basically, make money off of those folks, right? So or connect with them, right? So there's definitely a whole bunch of people that are in here in this first connection approach. Why is it always showing? Oh, I put Mexico. Okay. That's why. I guess there's not a lot of Mexicans in there included. So if this say US, there's like 63 in this group that are in that software, right? I would go probably more than just that industry, and you're going to see 180,000 of that. 180,000 of that 500,000 is from the US. So again, you can send a free message. See, free open a public profile. If you're in a group, that's going to come up automatically. If you don't have this, it's going to say this is one email credit of your 100 credits, whatever you have, then you're done. Again, if you're doing this one by one, that's not a good use of your time. That's what Victor and I do. We automate this whole approach and give time in the back of your day, because that is really a bad way of doing it. So that's important. The other thing, any questions about groups before I go to events? So events in LinkedIn are very good because you know why? They're telling you, hey, I'm already interested in this type of event that correlates to what your business is. So if I go into here and say, let's see if I registered for some of these events. I think I did this one. So there would be a register button here. I think I already registered. So this would say register. I click a button and they say, would you like to register? It would already pre-populate your information. But look at this. I got 1,000 people who have already said they're interested in leadership, impact, and coaching. Right? One of this was, I'm interested in go to market or top of funnel, whatever it is. I do that. And now I have a list of people that I could either follow, connect, or message. And they're already said, I always say, and Victor knows this, fish where people fish. Why would I, like advertisers advertise? So why wouldn't I go after person raise their hand, go into an event on LinkedIn and say, you know, I really want to strategize with people that are already raising their hand and wanting more information. So there's a big plus in going to events and groups and kind of already congregating where they congregate. Just be aware that the type of field you're in, a CIO is not going to be that person that's probably going to be going to roundtables as much or joining a group or going to an event unless it's a CIO roundtable.
Michael, are you doing this in LinkedIn or Sales Navigator right now?
This is a LinkedIn approach, right?
Okay.
You can't, I'm pretty sure in here.
Yeah, because I was looking for the ability to save that search and I didn't see it. That's what told me that you were probably in LinkedIn.
You can't look at an event as a field in Sales Navigator and use that as a, you don't use that as a groups. So the search in events, it's really horrible filters, but there's filters.
Michael, really
The
basic.
good news is that there's filters. The bad news is that you can't really use this that well, but I'd rather hit 100 people that could be raising their hands and might be 10 of them that I might not want to do. But if you scrape this list like I do, I take out, if I'm going after salespeople at an event, I take out all the CIOs and CS and IT people because they're not going to be the people that buy leads. Alex, you got a question?
Yeah, really basic question. I've used groups before, and I was just going to like audit the groups that I'm enrolled in, and I can't find that now. How do I see the groups that I'm already enrolled in?
If you go to your main page for your profile, there's a groups button. Your groups and requested groups. So you want to maybe withdraw ones too. You never want to really spend time on ones that have 15 members, you know?
Oh, I got it. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Make sure you hit people like and you build your own group. I guess I didn't even say that. Make your own group, make your own roundtable, control your event. Don't wait for Michael Falato to build an event for you. Do it yourself. I can help amplify and build that, but you don't need me for any of this stuff. You can do it manually. But hopefully you might say, you know what, I might want to use us for automation. Annabelle, are you on mute?
Yes. My question is, if you're hosting an event on LinkedIn, right? Well, not hosting it on LinkedIn. If you're doing an event on LinkedIn, you're advertising it as an event and people can click the attend button, but the actual event itself is on Zoom. So you need for them to register for the event. Is there a way to tie that attend button to a registration?
Good question. I've actually stopped doing events and making an event on LinkedIn because I noticed when I did this event, you definitely want to do it from your business. That's an important thing. If you don't do it from your business page, little trick, you can't download the attendee list.
So it's from the business page, but the problem that I'm running into is that everyone's clicking attend and then not that many people are registered. So I have to follow up with everyone and be like, hey, here's the registration. Like it's kind of buried on our page, especially if you're in
if you do from your business page and then you use an external event link like you see on my screen here, you put the Zoom link in there, and then I download the registration list from LinkedIn that has the email addresses, and I make a real calendar invite, just like you guys had a calendar invite today for this. I used to do this on LinkedIn all the time, but it came so cumbersome because I couldn't reuse the link on LinkedIn. I'd always have to change the link on my messaging. And then people would click on an old message and go, your LinkedIn link is not working. So that's why I created Google Forms, because the Google Forms puts it inside of a Google Sheet. Like I showed you that Google form earlier. You can see
No, I love Google Forms, but how do I get them to do that in addition to clicking the attend button? Like, is there a way when they click attend that it can be like, great, now you have to fill this out or go to this page? Or
so you go to
when they press I don't have their email. I don't have their email from them clicking attend.
So when you basically have your own event, I don't know if I can show you this on mine because I don't see my old event.
I can't see anyway because I'm driving.
Annabelle, can I
Yeah.
make a suggestion? So,
Yeah, I was gonna
Michael.
go ahead. I was just gonna say you can download the registration list from LinkedIn, but go ahead, Lynn.
So I didn't know you could download it from.
Yeah. This is Bob.
Hey,
You
what's up?
called me twice.
Bob, can you turn off your mic, please?
So
Yeah, I'm in another meeting, but I'll be out of it like
Guys,
shortly.
please. Yeah.
okay, so I didn't know you could download them because I've tried every way, Michael, to download them. But what I have to do is I go in, and if you click on the where they've registered, it will show you, and then you have to go to each one and pick up their email, put them then into the Zoom webinar invitations so that the emails start going out automatically then. But I think there's a way to do it in Zapier. I just don't know how to do
Guys,
it.
I'm telling you right now, I would show you if I could find an old event of mine.
Awesome.
It's real easy to do this. I just don't know where my path. I haven't done an event on LinkedIn
Michael,
using their registration in a long time. But it's real simple.
yeah.
There's a drop down that says download a registration list. If you build the event on LinkedIn using your business page, you can download every attendee. They have their email address in there. Take that email address, copy and paste it, put it in a real calendar like I did for today's call. It's so simple.
Thank you.
Actually,
That's
Michael, yeah. So we use like LinkedIn for events as well. So I have a networking event called Dynamite Networking Group, and we use LinkedIn to kind of host it.
Yeah,
So
I've been on them. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So just like you mentioned earlier, like if you use Annabelle, if you use like a Zoom registration, you can get all the emails from Zoom. And then technically, like Michael just said, LinkedIn has a copy of it as well. So you kind of have like 2 points of where to get the data from. And it just makes it like super seamless. And it's like a single click thing. They just click that link, jump on a Zoom, and that's it.
Yeah.
Unlike Eventbrite, that makes you jump through like a bunch of hoops.
Yeah.
And that's just my personal preference as far as LinkedIn versus
I
Eventbrite.
ended up towards the end. I ended up just sending people directly the link on LinkedIn, and a lot of them joined last minute. But I was like, there has to be a better way to do this.
That's why I switched all mine. I was a big LinkedIn proponent of like, let's use the event because I can click like quick apply when you do a job, right? Register on LinkedIn. I hate it now because it changes the URL for that group for that event. So I have to always update the copy. That's the biggest problem. Second problem is it takes a while to build that page, and my page doesn't change. It's the same event. So I used Google Sheets, Google Forms to do this. And if they want to be on my roundtable, they need to fill this out. Otherwise, sorry. I'm not going to make it that simple that every Tom, Dick, and Harry can get on here. I want someone to kind of take a little effort to do that. And then what's really nice, it puts it into that Google Sheet that I just showed you, right? This is one I'm doing for a company called Talent Insights. You can see here, I just started with them 2 months ago, and they have 89 entries. So Google Sheets will actually put it in a nice format, and you can share this with your client. So
hey, Michael.
It's really easy to do it.
Michael, this is Paul again. I use Microsoft Teams, and I use a webinar functionality for the external link, and it works very, very nice.
I would say Zoom, use it. Use the thing that people will use mostly, and Teams is not as widely as.
Yeah, you got a point.
Teams uses a lot of resources on your CPU. If you ever look at your CPU usage, Google Meet uses tons because it's browser based. The only one that's really well HD quality is Zoom. Yeah, so you definitely don't want to do it on Teams. Make it simple for your people. LinkedIn Live is good too because it's streaming on their format, but that's asking questions through chat. For me, us doing the one-to-one, that's what's it. I don't like Steve had a question on the chat. That's not communication the way we do things today. I'm old-fashioned in that aspect. So I would use Google Forms. It's free. I would highlight it on LinkedIn if you have time to do it, and put the Zoom link in there. And then export the list of export the list on LinkedIn into a real calendar invite off of Microsoft or off the Google or you can use Zoom's registration page as well. I want to keep the same URL to register, and I use the same Zoom link every month. I just want to keep it simple. I don't want to have broken links because that's what was going on before, and I don't have time to go chase what message it was in and who got it. Then if someone's having a bad experience, for me, get into a Zoom meeting or a roundtable. That's what I do for a living. That's not a good look for me, especially. Any other questions? So we kind of got through this in 40 minutes. And I was hoping that I want to make sure everybody kind of did their intros too. But if you could put your information in the chat, you can see that I don't know if you guys can see the chat window here and put down your information. I'm going to show you mine. I basically take my my signature file and I put it in here, and then I can send anybody that wants a copy of this video. Thanks, Alex. And basically do that. But if we can get through, maybe not like what you do, but who you are. How many people we have, Victor, you think, like, that are not note takers? 1, 2.
We got approximately just over 25, close to 30 maybe.
25 that are not note takers.
That's correct. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it's going to be hard to get. Let's see. How many people? Do I have anything after this? No, I don't. How many people can stay on after this and make sure we get through everybody's LinkedIn? Good. A couple. Okay.
Got a few.
So who has to go? I know Rajiv has to go soon. Does anyone else need to go first before they jump? All right. So let's go Rajiv and then Whitney. So 60 seconds, because I basically hogged the time teaching. And sorry that I did that, but hopefully that was good information. I wish I would have known this LinkedIn information a long time ago, because even doing it manually is 10 times better than just trying to figure out LinkedIn and what's the shortcuts. But there's great shortcuts out there doing automation. Don't do tasks that can be automated. Automate it. Whether use me or you get your own software, do things that are strategic, that with closing accounts, strategizing, building a relationship, business, dating. All right, Rajiv.
Michael, do you want to stop sharing your screen since you don't have to share it anymore?
Yeah.
Thanks.
30 seconds, 45 seconds. Who you are, what you do, where you live, and one quick tip that you learned over the last 10 years that you could share in less than 60 seconds. Rajiv.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for this, Michael. I think you make this very, very entertaining while providing good information. So I call this infotainment, people, if you were taking notes. Yeah. Okay. So as far as what I do, as you can see in my Zoom background, it says Assassins for Hire. Yes, you read that right. I'm an assassin. I assassinate your stress and worry, as well as fixing your fugly website by giving you a beautiful, gorgeous website, as well as erasing any scandal or worry caused by a scandal on Google or social or the internet. So I do that. Why? Because people look at that and think the worst of you, and that can destroy your life, and it can destroy your business and destroy your relationships. And you don't want that. So that's why I do what I do. Success guaranteed or your money back. My ask of this group is to be introduced to trusted advisors of millionaires and billionaires that do dumb shit. Okay, those are the kind of people that I want to meet. As far as one piece of advice that I can offer to anyone is keep moving forward. It's like Johnny Walker, the whiskey brand. It says keep walking. That's it. Keep walking. Just keep moving forward. Things will work out.
If you fail, it's a learning. I always hated losing more like winning. But you know what? Losing or sucks, but you learn. Especially in like jiu-jitsu. Like you figure out, oh, I shouldn't do that. I got tapped. My arm got ripped off. I probably shouldn't do that if I actually get in the situation. So, all right, let's go with, I think it was Whitney, and then it looks like Malaya after that.
Hi, everyone. My name is Whitney Kahn, and I'm a client director at Celica. We're a talent acquisition and advisory firm in Raleigh, North Carolina. We help to serve all industries and all over the country. I'm on the sales side, and so I am always looking to grow my business and looking for new companies that are in the process of growing. And so I guess that's my ask. is to connect people that are in the idea of growing, but not those big shops that they're just wanting warm bodies. I'm looking for people that I can have a relationship with and really help them strategically, as well as helping them grow their team. In terms of a tip, I think it's real simple. Know how important relationships are in building your brand, and so don't go too far on the other side of being so automated that you can't have a conversation with somebody. I know that a lot of my business really does come from the relationships that I've built even before I was in this industry. And so be authentic, and also don't be afraid to get on video on LinkedIn. Doesn't have to be professional, doesn't have to be perfect. Just get on there, do it. Don't take 18 cuts of it. Just film it on your phone and get it out there. So that's my tip.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely don't worry about how sharp you look. Lighting, I think, is important. Like if you look here, I was a TV production guy. I have 2 lights here going, filming my face. Be authentic. I probably wouldn't do it from a car. I had some guy do it from a car. Come on, that just doesn't show that you really care. So I think we're going into, thank you. I think Amelia.
Yes. Hi, everybody.
We lost your audio. Can people hear it?
No, I can't hear her.
Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm an Air Force veteran. My name's Malia.
Aim high.
Okay. I'm also a black belt in jujitsu.
Boys.
I have been in the sales space for about
Katie, tap Michael Falato.
We'll see about
My
that.
money's on Melinda.
Oh God.
I've been in the sales space for about 6 months. I retired and did my skill bridge through Service to Software, which I actually work for now. And what we do is we take veterans transitioning out of the military and place them in sales roles, such as BDR, SDR roles, and then they get to work for you. So I just try to give back to the community and help fellow veterans kind of go through what I went through. If I had to say anything, I'd say be open to opportunities, because I never in a million years thought I'd be doing sales, but here I am and I love it. So
what would you say to the whole term of lose and learn from sales or jiu-jitsu? I mean, don't you think that's a big thing of anything you do in life, is that people don't like losing, but they figure out, you know what, don't do that again, is a big lesson.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it's just learning how to be resilient and come back from, if you fail, to pick yourself back up and continue to fall forward. Don't ever think of it as a failure, think of it as a learning lesson in life. So yeah, awesome. It's great meeting everybody.
Thank you. Annabelle, do you want to go? It looks like you're multitasking today.
I'm like your poster child for the person taking the call in the car. I feel completely called out. But
I'm talking about like if you're doing a video and you could have done it later. This is different. This is live, and you don't ever have to say sorry. You're one of my favorite. Regine, sorry.
Yeah, I'm actually in a meeting at the moment.
Can you mute?
Yeah, if you can just like reply to the email.
I'm gonna kick him out.
Raj is like all over it. He's like wheeling and dealing while on this call. I love it. I'm Annabelle Pickens. I've been in sales for like 25 years now. I teach companies, sales teams, how to build a brand and how to do social selling on LinkedIn as the 4th pillar of sales. And it is great to meet everyone.
Thanks, Annabelle. Who else has to go now? Or who needs to go before everybody else? Nobody else want to raise their hand?
Yeah, I need to jump soon, Michael.
Okay, go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, my name's Daniel Helfman, based in Austin, Texas. I have a company called Good Consumption, and basically we're experts at helping newly funded startups generate their first $1 million in revenue.
Sound happy, Daniel. Sound happy. You're excited. Come on.
You
Hook 'em
know,
horn. Let's do this. So
yeah, I
get
am.
energy go.
I'm actually in Baltimore helping my mom who's elderly.
Okay.
So
All right. You got me
arranging,
fired.
yeah, trying to get more aids and stuff. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I am happy about what I do. I do love it. And we've had, I mean, tremendous success. So in the last 24 months, we've had something like 75 contracts signed. In the majority of those cases, we found the leads, we developed the pipelines, we created partnerships, referral networks, et cetera. So our methodology works. It's maybe unusual that we focus on newly funded startups, but that's what we do. So it's a lot of times it's before there's product market fit and before there's really an established marketing team even.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. I'm going to go to one of my favorite people.
Thanks.
Hey, everybody. My name is Hope Fry, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Gathered. Gathered Identities, Gathered Governance based out of Australia. I'm also the CMO of a company called Satoshi out of Paris, and I'm located here in Silicon Valley. And I met Michael because he is my go-to for what I'm doing with the Australian company globally on LinkedIn. So we've been working together about 6 months. I'm absolutely blown away with what we've accomplished, and I wanted to be here to support him and listen in to what other people are doing. In addition to what I do during the day, I'm a filmmaker. I have a film on Netflix, second one that's on the film circuit. The one on Netflix is called Brave Blue World. The new one that is making the rounds in all the fancy film festivals is Our Blue World. Liam Neeson is the narrator. Matt Damon, Jaden Smith, and Bono are in the film. And more than anything, I just love joining this. I've been a CMO for a very, very long time. I had a huge exit in August. I was on the board of Influential, which is an influencer marketing firm, and it sold to Publicis for $500 million in August. So the reason I am here is to say I really love Full Throttle, and I wanted to just listen and learn. And thank you, everyone, for allowing me to join.
Thanks, Hope. I appreciate that confidence. Just so we all know what you also do for companies is that you sit on as a CMO fractional and can you give a little like reason how you can help maybe someone that they might know and what you might help you as well?
Yeah, I have been a global CMO. Yeah, I have been a global CMO for, I mean, I'm going to say 30 plus years. I ran an agency that I sold when I was, I think, 28 or 29 in San Francisco, and then became a CMO. I'm usually that fractional CMO for Sand Hill Road, so VCs in Silicon Valley. And at this point in my career, I take on 2 companies as that operational CMO. And again, I ran into Full Throttle because I inherited him in one of those companies. I want to say 6 or 7 months ago. So I am operational, and just I take on 2 companies in completely 2 different parts of the world so that they don't bump into each other. One European time zone, one Australian or Asia time zone. And then I usually take my break in the middle of the day. And I'm a surfer. So I have decided that having those 2 to 3 hours in the middle of the day works for me. I am fully operational. I lead demand gen, I lead product, I lead brand and comms, strategy, and investor relations. So, your typical modern CMO. And right now, the flavor of the year, of course, is AI. So AI in identity governance and AI in tech and real estate, which is what I'm doing in France.
How often do you
start? How early do I start? Like 6
a.m.
a.m.
How often?
Pardon?
How often too?
How often? What do you mean?
You go surfing every day? Or?
Oh, I'm fortunate in that it really depends on where I am physically. I've been dedicated to ocean and surf like my whole, for many, many, many years. So it really depends what I can do. Where somebody else might go to the gym, right? It's the same thing. I just go to the water, so it's either a pool or the ocean or a lake or a shower.
Awesome.
But the main thing is this, it's like, I've been doing this for so long. Oh, there's 2 tips I wanted to say. Yeah. Number one, I think LinkedIn is my superhero companion without question. I think I have 28,000, 27, 28,000.
Almost got, we're about the same.
Right. And they're the real deal. I just want to say they've got to be the real deal. So I do prune or data hygiene and try to really take out 2,500 every quarter. And I would say without question, my superpower are two things. It's my power of my network. I think, what is my acceptance rate? 55% on invites?
Yeah, it's very.
And what is the standard?
Depends. I mean, males and females get much different. I would say females
In the
anywhere
teens
from
to 20s.
20 to 30, right, Victor? And then
Yeah.
guys probably 8 to 15%. So
Yeah.
it depends.
So
like,
I
hopes
who you
I have CIOs and CTOs and a very male-driven total addressable
Yeah.
market. Depends who you're trying to connect with. Procurement people, if you sold to procurement people, you would have 0.2.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, but Hope does well. She's a
So
good brand.
the one thing you should know is I only reach out pretty much to CISOs, CIOs, CEOs, CFOs, right? So it's C-suite. These folks usually don't accept invites, right? So I have to be very strategic.
Yep.
And I don't know if you want me to talk or you don't want me to, but I mean, I have a way of doing things that might be helpful.
No, I think the people that are staying on have extra time. I think we could talk about your event, like the going after people at an event before we get there. Why don't you talk about what we did there? Because I think you could do that with or without automation.
Yeah. And again, I don't need to talk if other people want to talk, but I'm happy to share if it's helpful.
Yes,
if
please.
it's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. So last week I was at 3 events at the same time. I was at the InfoSec Orlando event virtually, and I bought the event list Expo Pass for $500. I reverse engineered, downloaded the app, scraped it with Full Throttle's help, and reached out to all the speakers to say that I'm looking forward to attending your presentation. You're an expert. I'm looking for experts in AI. May I, are you available to meet for a few minutes? Right. And I did a really thoughtful outreach. And I think I got 40, actually, I think I got 70% accepted invite. And yes, I'd like to meet. Okay. So that's unbelievable. But I am very thoughtful, go through all the speakers. I know it's the power of my network. Generally, when they hit my LinkedIn, there might be 10 to 100 people that we have in common. I think that's the game changer personally, is the strength of my network. And then I'm very respectful to nurture that relationship, meaning I was at a different event. I was at Ad Week in Phoenix at the same time that I was doing this in Orlando last week. And I had to be very thoughtful, meaning I did not promote Ad Week. I did not do anything on LinkedIn whatsoever in Ad Week because that's where I was. I did everything around InfoSec and focusing on security on my LinkedIn. So it was very thoughtful. I then followed up with all the speakers who reached out to me to say, I'll be back in touch. My schedule is slammed, right? But I was very thoughtful. I didn't waste their time. And then on the Wednesday morning, I said, unfortunately, I have to jump on a flight. I have an AI event in San Francisco now Thursday morning. May I follow up with you next week after the event? And it was true. I flew Thursday to San Francisco to join the AI event. And then I promoted that on LinkedIn. So I know it's a lot. But I know it's a tremendous amount to handle, both time-wise, effort-wise, and physically. But it works because it's authentic. For the brand week people, I reached out to them the following week because I was physically there and I met with everybody, and I reached out to them separately because my interest with brand week, top CMOs in the US, is I'm looking for board roles. My only interest is board roles. I want them to introduce me to VCs that are looking for board members. And because I had this huge exit in August, I'm really at top of mind for CMOs. So with Ad Week, I waited to the following week because, as Michael knows, I ran out of invites. 300 in 1 week were gone by Tuesday. I was locked out and I had to be very strategic. So this is not a typical week, but I would say it isn't an unusual week for me, right? So one is InfoSec for my company, focusing purely on CISOs that are interested in identity governance for my company so that we have qualified leads. Number one, for me to toss over the fence to my CEO and founder. For ad week, it's for me for board roles. And then Silicon Valley is, it's who I am. I always need to be kind of out in front as far as technology. Absolutely. I have to be in the right place at the right time with the right people to have any cred at this point in my career, because I'm much older than most people in my field.
You have
Go
to,
ahead.
you could do, I hope that doesn't really want like this approach, but the in-mails. So if you run out of invites, there's a way to look
Yeah.
for profiles. And in her space, it's not apropos, but I do it and it works very well. So you have to be comfortable with how your brand, either you do it manually or automation, you have to be comfortable with that approach.
Yeah. And
Because-
in-mail for
Yeah.
me, in-mail for me does not work because it feels spammy for who I am.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I don't do that, which means I'm locked out. I only have 300 invites a week.
200 invites a week. Yeah.
200, and we automate them. So I use every one of them. And, with a 55% or so acceptance rate, it works really well because they're the right people.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Awesome. Thanks, Hope. Paul, why don't you go ahead, Paul? Oh, Paul, Dangle, then we'll go Paul.
Oh yeah, no.
Then we'll go Paul.
I'm really surprised. When I grow up, I want to be just like Hope. I'm always looking for.
I bet you hope you can do that.
I've been on like 20 some odd boards throughout my career, $1 billion boards and stuff like that, and all the way from $1 million boards. So I'm always looking for additional board positions, and like Hope, I'm very technically advanced. The bleeding edge of technology. I wasn't able to make it to Orlando, but a lot of stuff that I do is based around AI and technology, machine learning, gunshot detection, all that kind of fun stuff. I've gotten jobs from Intel, but right now I'm the author of a tool called the MSP Business Evaluator and Accelerator, where for just $100 or so, an MSP can put in a few parameters about their business, find out how much your business is worth to a strategic and financial buyer. But if they buy the accelerator version, they get a blueprint and roadmap for accelerated growth through the MSP business maturity model. And that's who I am.
Thanks. Paul Cutler.
Good morning, Paul Coulter. I'm the president of Priority Concepts here in Winter Garden. I help early stage companies find product market fit, and I really tap into the power of the customer voice, which is my superpower. The other thing that is really interesting is bridging enterprise solutions to the early stage solution, developments. And so love working with VCs, love working with different organizations like Plug and Play that just came into the Orlando market that's looking to provide that link between early stage and those enterprise after 20 years of B2B enterprise sales. I think one of the greatest things you can do, and Hope you alluded to this in terms of the power of events, right? Events are the most powerful marketing lever that we have in terms of pipeline acceleration. And if you can do the right prep on the front end and actually leverage the power of the customer's voice in advance, the attendee's voice in advance, it's super powerful. You'll see a lot of buzz during the event and after the event of key takeaways, but there are some interesting early stage technologies that are allowing you to tap in at the registration point to really accelerate and get really unlock the C-suite access. A lot of marketing doesn't get to the C-suite, but if one of their peers mentions, hey, I'm going to the CISO conference, InfoSec, others are like, oh, this person's going to be there, I should jump in. And so that's kind of a hidden superpower that's been unlocked recently through using LinkedIn. So that's what I have to share today. Thanks for having me, Michael.
Thanks, Paul. Let's go with Larry.
Hi, thanks, Michael. Thanks for inviting me. And hi, everybody. I'm Larry Nippon. I'm a strategic partner of Squee Mitchell. This is a fun group. I love seeing some senior people that are technologically advanced. I actually grew up in the apparel business. So hope you definitely get the fashion award for the week because that's an amazing top that you're wearing. But I started in the fashion business with a brand, very well-known brand called Albert Nippon. But I always loved technology and always loved data. I tell people I was the second person in the world to use CRM, which is true because I was the first beta tester for ACT. My career has evolved from being a C-suite to being cursed at and being a business owner to ultimately evolving into what I'm doing now, which is helping companies deal with an issue they might not even know they have. I operate on the premise that nobody would intentionally pay more for the services in their business than they have to. And yet the vast majority of companies today are overpaying for those services anywhere from 30 to 70%. I've got a tremendous resource group behind me that goes into companies and they evaluate and analyze how you're spending that money and how we can cut those spends down and keep those cuts in place. In terms of learning and something that I provided the group, I'm going to address Bob Britton. Bob Britton took me to church a couple weeks ago and gave me some extraordinary advice. But we're all here to network and to expand our business footprint through making great connections. And yet people wonder, why aren't I getting more introductions? Why aren't I getting more referrals? And it's taken me a long time to learn this, but personal and professional capital is top of mind for people. What you deliver to a company or what you think your value proposition is second in mind to them. To do they trust you to make that introduction? So I would strongly advise, take your time in these groups, let people get to know you, let them get to trust you, and connect with people and do one-on-ones with them. And the referrals will come, the introductions will come, but top of mind is personal capital, and you need to respect that. And that's the best advice I can give everybody on this group.
Thanks, Larry. Let's see here. Let's go with Bob.
Hello. So folks, first of all, thank you, Michael, for what you do here. This is fantastic. Larry, thanks for the shout out. Really appreciate that. I think we took each other to school, actually. It's kind of fun. So what I do is I help companies improve their top line revenue generation, and I do it by improving their capability to do so. I work with their management teams to make sure that they reduce the friction in their organization so that everyone's communicating with each other. I help them become more customer centric so they're not always looking at themselves or looking outside. And I also coach every one of their customer facing teams, everyone. So that there's a way to communicate with customers and there's a way not to. I tell you how. So a tip, when it comes to LinkedIn, you can either hunt or you can farm. LinkedIn is for farming. Okay. If you hunt on LinkedIn, you have to be very careful about how you do it, or you're going to turn a lot of people off. But it is a great place to add value to what it is that people are doing. So just remember that when it comes to hunting and farming, you just have to focus a little bit more on the farming side when it comes to LinkedIn rather than hunting. And I think you're going to find a lot of success there. Events are that type of thing that you do there when it comes to farming. So do it.
Yeah, the events roundtables to me is a mixture of hunting and farming. To me, farming is, from my enterprise background, is going after your accounts that you have, and that's it.
Yeah, there's if you look at the 95-5 rule, the TAM SAMSOM, your SAM, which is your serviceable available market, is that should be what you choose to focus on, your niches you're focusing on. And of that, about 95% of them are not going to be in market. They're not ready to buy, but they do want to know about what it is that you do. So those are the types of people that you want to farm.
Yeah.
You want to just get to know them. You want to put the information out there and help them out however you can. Give.
Yep.
For those 5% that are actually in market, ready to buy, probably closer to 2 or 3 these days, what you want to do there is those are the ones that you want to hunt. But when I say hunt, I don't mean going after them aggressively. I mean, we're talking like a 50-word conversation.
Business dating. is what I call
Exactly. It's like, hey, I do this, I might be able to add this. Are you in market for this? Yes or no? Bam. That's about, when it comes to hunting, that really is as much as you need to do so long as you have farmed the 95% correctly.
Yeah.
And it snowballs. It really does. So
I'll go
there you
to
go.
Chris, who's a inspiration to all of us. Krista, tell us a little your story that you mentioned before.
Absolutely. My tip is actually don't hide from your story. I noticed that let's see. So Larry was talking about don't pay a premium. Don't pay more than you have to. And I agree, don't pay a premium price unless you're getting premium value. And Whitney was talking about having the conversation that not to automate everything. Absolutely, I agree with that. And Hope was talking about being thoughtful and strategic. Whereas Paul Coulter was talking about the power of the customer voice. I'd also encourage people in that tip not to hide from your story, to think about how does your voice intersect with the customer voice? Can the customer feel like you are relatable, like they can see themselves and their problem in what you are saying? Do they feel like you are helping them to solve a problem? I'm Krista Janik, ghostwriter, blogger, and amateur skier who just happens to be blind. I used to hide from my personal journey because, who wants to be the girl walking in the room with the cane, right? You can hide when you're online. But actually, people tell our stories for us, whether we want them to or not. So just like Rajiv was talking about controlling what's out there to the best of your ability, you want to influence what people are saying about you. You want to influence the stories that people tell, and you want to leverage your stories, your knowledge, your expertise so that you're building trust. Because as a ghostwriter, as a blogger, I like to ask my clients and people I know, why do people trust you? Krista Janik, wise words that matter.
Plus, you got a stick you can hit someone with if you need to, in case they get a little smart. Inspirational. Thank you. Is anyone that does not have the... Oh, Lynn. Okay, that's right. Lynn, anyone else besides Lynn? Let us know, but Lynn will be the last one.
How can I follow Krista? She's such an inspiration. I just don't know how I can follow her. So my name is Lynn Donaldson, and I'm going to ask you for a little bit of help. I will give a tip, but I'm also going to ask you for a bit of help, because previously I've been doing product launch for medical devices and pharmaceuticals. I still do product launch services for medical devices companies, but I'm kind of leaving the pharmaceutical companies for different reasons. But what I found, to Krista's point about the story, I found myself being really good at coaching from a mindset executive coaching point of view, because my superpower is getting people really crystal clear on their goals and then looking at what's holding them back. And I've resisted this for about 2 years now, but it's kind of knocking on my door now. So my ask is, how can I leverage LinkedIn to sort of make that pivot? When people know me for being in the pharmaceutical medical devices industry, when I actually want to pivot to the executive coaching without it looking messy in the middle. I still do product launch, and Rajiv and I have a software that we do which deals with product launch. So it's like, how do I make that pivot without it looking messy? And before anybody answers, my tip is polls. I do lots of polls on LinkedIn, and I do them Saturday and Sunday morning. They're due to go out about 7:30, 8 o'clock, because when people are sitting on Saturday morning, they're kind of scrolling while they're drinking their coffee, and they'll do polls. And I get a lot of hits, and I do it in groups as well as on my LinkedIn. And I get a lot of hits. One of my polls actually ended up getting 100,000 impressions from one poll. Now, it was particularly interesting the way I phrased it, but that's one of the tips that I can share, that you just have to be careful of serial clickers and serial posters. because if you're using it as a
serial killers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if you're looking for it for lead generation, people I've asked very specific questions. Are you looking for this? They answer yes in the poll. I go back out to them and they're like, no, I'm not interested. So there are serial posters and you kind of get to know who they are. So
yeah,
it's just one of the
I
things.
would say to answer your question is if you're making a shift to your business or your persona.
Oh no, you've frozen. No.
I'm
You froze. Yeah, you froze. Say again, Michael. Sorry.
If you're trying to change what you do in the image of what people know you as, I think you, instead of amplifying it just on LinkedIn, I would automate your LinkedIn and emails to say, here's what I'm doing. But the educational approach, which is what I'm doing here today, is here's what I do and here's how I'm an expert in this. Here's how I'm a subject matter expert, SME. Whenever you're teaching, showing, or giving advice that you know is pretty accurate, you will change their minds of who you are and what they think of you without you telling them.
Okay.
So it's like challenger sales. I see you have a $5 million problem. I have a $5,000 a month solution, and it's a service. And you can either do it this way or that way. I'm teaching you that I can do it for this. And it's going to save you that type of time and money. So that works really well. Hope has some.
Yeah, super easy. Go to the chat. I gave you my link to my success stories. You just have to write case studies. You just have to create content, and you just are already doing this, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to become a coach. No, you just show what you've already done. So you just tell your stories differently, and no one's going to care if you've been doing it a week or 5 years. You just need to have, proven success stories, implied endorsement. So either you anonymize them or you get the people that you've worked with in the past to put that quote in. You'll see it in my link or my chat to you. All my success stories, if you click on any of those tiles, you'll see the challenge and the result. And granted, you probably only have 5 of them that you can do right now for coaching, but that's enough. And just make sure that the people that you choose, if they won't do a quote for you, right? But if it's real and authentic, you could use the title and the company, like CIO SAP.
Yeah.
Right. You don't need to put the person's name, but I think that no one cares when you pivot. They just want to know, well, can you help me? It's really all about them.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Your recommendations on LinkedIn could be from you as a person. Not every recommendation I have is about full throttle. It's about Michael. I met Michael when he was 17 and he joined the Air Force and I was his recruiter. It's who you are as a person, not always. But remember, whenever anybody reads anything about you, they're thinking the same thing you think about them. Who cares? Why are you telling me this? How can you help me? Who have you done this for? And how is this going to help me in my job or life? Think that way, reverse psychology it, kind of like what Hope just said. And if you don't have tons of case studies on your life coaching or business coaching, anonymize it, That's what I mean. I say I worked with the NFL, which I have. Not in lead gen, but they were my client in my past company. So there's ways to kind of spread truth, but not necessarily giving someone the whole detail of every little thing in your life.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've been putting a lot out on LinkedIn and trying to connect with people. Even I've been doing this for 4 years now, and it was more prevalent and the reason it sort of was most prevalent was just when everything shut down. I actually was working with a small pharmaceutical company who were trying to launch their product. It was their make or break product, and they then suddenly couldn't get out. So I had to keep the leadership team at high peak performance so that they could devolve it down while everybody was going through the same thing. And then my team worked with them on the strategy, including scenario planning, because the what if happened as well. The FDA asked for more information. So again, I had to go back to the leadership team and keep them at peak performance while this was all going on. So that's a good case study. But it's just one, shall we say. but I can't name the company because of my industry don't like you to name them. So
You
I just
don't have to. You say, I helped do this, coach this. This is the who, what, when, why, who cares scenario. And it was FDA, COVID, whatever it is. They were a drug that helped cure Alzheimer, whatever it is. You don't need to know. They don't need, especially in HIPAA and medical space.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be asked.
People understand that in pharma for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for your help, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Lynn. Anyone else have anything before I hop off?
Hey, Lynn, post your LinkedIn or whatever. I may actually have a lead for you.
Awesome. Thank you. I will do that just
All right.
now.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, before you go, let me just do this, Michael, so that
there's 3 buttons next to your name to the chat. You click that. You click Save Chat. That's gonna download the whole chat for the whole day, and then I'm gonna send out a recording link to my my note taker for all of you. And then if you have any clients that need automation or sales help or top of funnel, please let me know and I'll give a referral. So, all right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.